Hello everyone, welcome to another demo. Today I'm going to introduce you to my latest gizmo, AndrewsPaintCheck, similar to the RotoCheck. It's still kind of in the early testing stages, so not everything may work as planned, but let's see how it is working so far. So I've done a little quick paint out here over just 17 frames. It's not a very good one. If you were to look here at the plate, you'll see I've just started to remove some markers here. Just three guys. You can kind of see them pretty obviously. Now, what I wanted to do with this gizmo is give you different ways of looking at your paint to kind of see what you've done and how you can improve it. Ideally for leads and supervisors, but also for yourself, just for looking at things. So let's take a look at what's inside here. So you've got a lot of different options. Right away, you can turn the paint out on and off. So if we're viewing from here, you can say, I don't want to view it, I want to view it. And with that, we've also got opacity, right? So you can kind of mix it back and forth just to kind of quickly judge how well it is working, like that. You've also got saturation boost. I find sometimes boosting saturation can really help to see how things are doing for all. And I can even go, into the red channel and see the green channel, and that'll give you kind of a sense of where things are working and where they're not. So just kind of a standard thing that we normally do. We go back into our color channel. Right away, one of the most common ways to check is what's the difference. So if I click show me the diff, right away this is going to use a difference mat to tell me what is different about the plate, which I plugged into the plate input here, and the paintout input. Okay, so you got to make sure that when you plug this in, you've already done your denoising and you're just looking at the difference between, essentially your paint strokes and what's not there. This also could be used for adding CG or other elements to the plate as well. So this is allowing you not to have to switch to the alpha channel. You can just see it right away, available right there. You've also got the difference overlay. So this gives you a nice little overlay that you can put on top. It can give you sort of any color that you want. So I can go to magenta or red, anything like that. And then we've got a few other things here. Now, right below it, it says disable full frame range difference view. This is a little bit heavier because it's using a time echo. It's kind of a useful way of looking at your paint out over multiple frames. So I can see here kind of frame by frame, that difference. But if I wanted to, I could actually say, hey, let's look at all 17 frames here. You enter in that number, and I turn this guy on, and right away see how it expands out. So on this one frame, it's actually showing me essentially everything. And you can kind of see as it goes along like that, it's analyzing 17 frames in total. So it gives you kind of a quick sense right away of how much that paint out is moving over time. And yeah, it just gives you kind of an idea of what will be the tracking information that you need to apply and everything like that. So it's nice to kind of see the overall range of motion. So that's just a little option for you there. And there's also a range of difference modes, not to be confused. So I'm going to disable it again. These little views here. So by default, we've got 0, which is sort of our default compare RGB, compare the color. But I've also done a little bit of a color space trick for you here. So if we go to 1, this looks like sort of a splattered paint. This is actually comparing the hue. So I have a difference of the hue of my paint out versus that. So this is just isolating down into the hue. And again, we can apply this effect. Actually, I think I turned it off. Yeah, it wasn't looking really as useful in this one. So we've got it mainly for hue, then we've got saturation, and then we've got value. So I just separated those three elements into that, so you can quickly see your difference that way as well. So it gives you a little bit more control than you normally would. Okay? Yeah. So if you do want that feature in there, I could rearrange it and make that set up like that. It's not too difficult. All right, the next thing that we can look at, let's turn off this guy, is this funky difference. So if you click enable funky difference, right away it brings you to this fancy screen where you can kind of get an alternate view of what you're changing in the plate. And I kind of like it being over gray like this. This is mostly just through math operations. We've got a mix control, so you could kind of fade it back on and sort of see what it looks like on the plate. Again, we can turn this on and off very quickly with the view paint out option. And this also gives us a little bit of control over that. So you can control that one, and you can control this one. So 2 different modes of control. There's a couple different views. This one, maybe you want something a little more colorful, makes it a little easier to see. And then you've got these 2. So kind of a nice dark overlay that really helps it make it clear, okay, these are the things that I have changed, and we can mix it again back onto the plate. So that gives you a nice little range of options for seeing what you're actually changing. Next we've got our divider check. So 2 little options here, check RGBY. So we turn this on. Basically it splits up the channels. I like this, it's sort of like neat video where you can instantly on one frame look and see, okay, on frame 90 now I'm seeing the red, the green, the blue, and the luminance channel all at once. And I can quickly compare how everything's looking. Often, because we're using this for noise, I like to also have this feature here. So instead of just doing that one, you can turn it on like this. You can have both on if you want, but really we just need this one on right now. And this is just a way of seeing how close we're matching our noise. So this is denoised right now, but if you had noise on here, you can really see the texture difference between these guys. You can see I did a lot of blurring here, so we did lose some of that texture. And let's jump back. Final feature here, this is something kind of still in the works. I don't know if it will always work, but it was looking kind of promising. So it's a judgment tool. It will judge your shot. In order to get it to work, first thing you need to do is click this prepare for judgment. It'll be really fast. That's basically just setting the region of interest, the size, to match your plate size. The next thing you have to do here is judge my shot. If you were to hit this display percent changed right now, you can see what the result is going to look like. 0% of plate has changed. That's not accurate because we have changed some of it. And that's because it hasn't really evaluated the shot yet. So as it says here, the lower number is going to be better. So if you're at 99%, chances are you've changed almost the entire plate. So let's do a quick test and see. This can actually judge a certain frame range. So if I click judge my shot now, keep this on, you'll see it gives me all these options. So I'm going to say, let's do custom. Let's just do the frame range I'm looking at right now. So 80 to 96. Hit OK. It's going to analyze the sequence. And you can see I've changed only 2%. So pretty generous. Only a minor amount. So that's looking pretty safe. When we start to go much, much higher, then it looks a little bit worse, right? So let's just test that out right now. If I were to go here, and from my paint out, right now it's just this zone here. Let's say, yeah, I have a brush. I select this. Let's make it a really obvious color. And I start to paint all over. Yeah, if you're going this far, chances are you've done way too much paint out, right? So now that we have that, when we go to our paint check tool, you can see obviously the plate looks very different. When we look at our difference mat now, you can see things have changed quite a bit. Show me the difference overlay, right? Quite different now. So if we were to go back here, you don't necessarily need to hit this again. You can if you want, but it's not going to harm anything. And now I click judge my shot, same frame range. There we go. So now you can see we're getting a much higher number. We've basically changed about almost 3/4 of the shot, right? Almost 75% probably. So it's not a 100% accurate number, but it does give you kind of an idea of how much you're changing. So try to keep this number smaller, and as you're doing your paint out, if you find you've done too much, we can go back and erase, hit judge my shot again, and ideally we've got our number reduced down to something a bit lower, right? So this one, delete, judge my shot. There we go. So we're back to a more solid number like that. So I hope that's been helpful to you. I had other features, but I decided to remove them and keep it kind of simple. But let me know if there's other things that you're interested in seeing, and hope it is helpful to you. I'm curious to see it tested out on a wider range of shots too. Happy comping.